Today we're fortunate enough to be at Hamilton Gardens at Lake Chatuge in Hiawassee, Georgia, in the beautiful mountains of North Georgia. And we're fortunate to have the executive director, Grace Howard. Thank you, Grace, for having us.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate the tour that you've given us. Can you tell me about how this came to be?
I surely can. The gardens have been here about 40 years. They were planted as a gift to Towns County, a gift that was given to the county by Mr. Fred Hamilton and his wife Hazel. They were avid gardeners, they were collectors of rhododendrons and native azaleas, and this was their legacy gift to the county, this garden. There are about 2,000 plants in here.
Wow.
And maybe as many as 300 different varieties of rhododendrons.
Well, the first thing I learned was that I missed the season.
You did.
Your season is from mid-April?
Starting mid-April to probably the fourth week in May. Peak time is around Mother's Day every year.
Okay, around Mother's Day. What would I have seen? What colors would I have seen?
Every color imaginable.
Wow.
From white to red to purple to pink, to so many varieties and so many species in here. We have species in this garden that don't grow anywhere else, ever.
Well, that's unique.
That is unique, and we are the largest rhododendron garden in the Southeast.
Okay. Besides the rhododendron, what else do you have here?
We have several things. We're standing, of course, in front of some oak leaf hydrangeas. We have an active pollinator garden, which is a part of a University of Georgia plan. We have a firefly habitat, and one of these days we expect to be able to sit out there in a chair with a glass of wine and watch the synchronicity of the fireflies when they come out of the habitat.
Tell me a little about the pollinator section. We talked about that briefly earlier. I found that fascinating.
Well, pollinator gardens are special gardens. They're all native plants, and they draw the bees and the butterflies and the ants, and everything that pollinates our food will come to a pollinator garden, and the habitats are going away for pollinators. So anything that anyone can do in their landscaping to help save our pollinators is a godsend to us that like to eat.
Right. Right. Now, I also have noticed some various artwork, sculptures throughout the gardens.
Correct. We have a permanent collection in here, 2 artists, one local here in Hiawassee, Ron Salzer. There are 3 pieces of his work in here. And then we have Greg Quick, who is from Mineral Bluff, and we have 4 pieces of Greg's work in here.
Now, you're located right on the banks of beautiful Lake Chatuge. How have y'all incorporated that into the gardens?
Well, we have a trail down there that runs along the lake. It's a primitive trail, was cut through by our volunteers, as most of the work is done up here by volunteers. And it's just a nice little place to walk right on the water. It's where our fishermen go to fish down there. There are 2 little benches, and so it's a pleasant place. But the big thing for us is that we irrigate from the lake. It's part of our conservation effort here at the gardens.
Volunteers. Tell me a little about your volunteers, the folks that make this possible for us.
Well, we would be hard-pressed to do what we do up here without them. They come from primarily the community and our Master Gardener group, which is a Towns Union Master Gardener group. And I probably have about 35 on my list.
Wow.
And we do a planned orientation and get them acquainted with the gardens. We have 2 work days a month. And so they work with us year-round. They do a lot of the work nobody likes to do, like weed pulling and pruning and things like that. So our volunteers are very important to this process.
How many hours a week would you say, or a month, do y'all have to put in to keep it looking this beautiful?
This has taken us almost 5 years to get to this place.
Wow.
So it's an ongoing effort. We have 3 part-time people here that are gardeners that work here in the garden and manage the plants. And they're just part-time. Altogether, they almost make up 1 full-time equivalent.
Okay.
So we have those folks and then our volunteers. And there's someone here every day working.
All right. Now, you have your main entrance that we came down. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about your different trails throughout?
We have about 1.5 miles of trails. They're mulched like the ones we're standing on here right now. We have 2 primitive trails that are a little rougher and they're well marked. We always encourage you to wear shoes when you come in here, particularly if you're going to do the primitive trails. But it's easy. There are benches. There are 60 benches located throughout this garden where people can stop and rest if they need to. So it's easy walk. We're a year-round garden, And it's absolutely stunning here in the fall, and in the winter you can see all the way to North Carolina on the other side.
All right. Now, there was a pavilion up top. What do y'all use that for?
We use it for events. It's a rental property that people can actually rent for weddings, family reunions, family picnics. Last year during COVID, we hosted the Rotary Club every week up here for 3.5 months. We have education classes in the summer, 2 per month. We do a moonlight concert once a month up here.
Nice.
And you bring your chair and your beverage of choice and sit on the great lawn out there and watch the sun set in the west and the moon rise in the east.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
and you know how pretty it is.
Oh,
up there.
yeah. I was taken back. Thank you so much for having us out today. I really appreciated the tour you gave us. Thank you, Grace.
You're very welcome. Come again.
If y'all are in the North Georgia mountains, you've got to check out Hamilton Gardens at Lake Chatuge. Thank y'all.